Nice. Air conditioner's working. Yay. It's nice and cool this weekend, so that's a good thing. Of course, we got some warm weather coming in a couple of days, but yeah, for all the people on YouTube, we're in the southeastern portion of Washington State, and it was like 45 yesterday morning, and it was in the 40s this morning at my house anyway, and it's supposed to be like 100 degrees in a couple of days. Yeah, who knows? T-shirts and sweatshirts that you could buy if you really wanted to. So I was drinking at a bar, so I took a bus home. That may not seem like a big deal, but I've never driven a bus before. I haven't lost my mind. Half of it just wandered off, and the other half went looking for it. Today I was a hero. I rescued some beer that was trapped in a bottle. I'm pretty sure we have eggs in the back. I didn't look, but I think we do. And they started picking cherries yesterday. So we'll have cherries next Sunday and for the next few weeks, as long as Sandra and William are so kind to bring those to us. So if you live anywhere near cherry orchards, which we do, you'll hear the air cannons going off to scare away the birds, if you're wondering what those noises were and you weren't real sure. And then, of course, the helicopters came overhead right after the floods we had on, was that Friday? Friday, whenever it was? Yeah, so those will be coming around if we have any rain. So, all right, things that make you go, Women keep a special corner of their hearts for sins they have never committed. Okay, I don't know. As cowardly as a coward is, it's not safe to call a coward a coward. Weak people never give way when they ought to. From fanaticism to barbarianism is only one step. Oh, okay. Consistency requires you to be as ignorant today as you were a year ago. Yeah. All right. Let's stop with that and look at our patron saints, George Carlin and John Lennon. So that's true, too. That's true. They're both passed, but that's okay. They're wonderful people. John said, "A dream you dream alone is just a dream, but a dream you dream together is reality." So I believe that. I believe that. And George, the IQ and the life expectancy of the average American recently passed each other in the opposite direction. Anything going on here that I should know about? Picnics. I know we're going to have one in July.
Yeah, we'll plan something for July.
Okay, and then again, of course.
Talk about like the word thingy and start plugging that.
Sure. Yeah, we're going to do the next picnic is in July, and then of course the regular church picnic will be in September.
Yeah, so we'll think of a theme for July and come up with some really neat, ideas and stuff, and pass around a sign-up sheet then. The other thing I want you guys to start thinking about and have a little heads up is that there's a lot of chores and work that are going to need to be for prep work for the church to be painted. So we're going to paint in the fall, but there's a lot of
green
work.
with pink stars.
Outside. Yeah, it'll be an outside project, but there's a lot of prep work that's going to need to be done around the edges of the wood along the ground, and there's some places of wood that needs to be replaced in the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask for volunteers to help us with these projects. We're going to pick certain days, do volunteer days, but to help make it a little more fun for you, we're going to have a raffle of an item. We'll have pizza for you, so we'll feed you and everything. But we already have one item, but I'm not going to say what it is right now. And I'll send a sign-up sheet around so we have an idea of how many people are going to be there and help out. So keep that in mind, and that's going to be coming up here probably in the next few weeks, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So
is that washing the building before painting?
That's one of them.
At some point.
Wood needs to be replaced. Some of the
Wood on the
fascia,
fences or
the
on the
fascia,
Building.
on the building. So this is all like building work. The shed out back needs some tender loving care. It's gotten packed full, so we're going to be, pulling things out, going through them. That's going to be some of the work that will be involved. So this will be projects and chores that are going to be on the outside. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, for the summer, I'm in shorts. It's great. I love it. So, your feet are bigger in the afternoon than they are during the rest of the day. Due to blood pooling. That's what they said. It's in the book, so it must be true. And quotes, "The true university of these days is a collection of books." And the great consulting room of a wise man is a library. Yeah, or Google. And we've talked about recycling batteries. Well, right at the moment, this is our official recycling box, and this is our first delivery. So, wow. There is a bazillion little button batteries. Wow. That should be like good for Tiddlywinks or something. Do they still play Tiddlywinks? Probably not, huh? So, yeah, what's Tiddlywinks, right? All right, we're just about done here. Dilbert Management Today. Apparently they did a bunch of Dilbert, remember Dilbert, the comic strip? Dilbert quotes, and they had a contest in 2004. All of my stuff is old. That's why nobody's heard of it. So, and these are quotes that were done by actually emails or letters or whatever from particular companies. "As of tomorrow, employees will only be able to access the building using individual security cards. Pictures will be taken next Wednesday and the employees will receive their cards in 2 weeks." Yeah, that was from Microsoft. So, "What I need is an exact list of specific unknown problems we might encounter." That's a perfect thing for Hanford. Where's Nancy? Nancy, you need to get on that. You need to get right on that. And email is not to be used to pass on information or data. It should be used only for company business. That was the Electric Boat Company, if you know who they are. This next one was UPS. "This project is so important we can't let things that are more important interfere with it." Okay. "A man and a woman have been married more than 60 years. They had been sharing everything." I was wondering if I should do this one. Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. "They had talked about everything. They had kept no secrets from each other except that the little old woman had a shoebox on the top of her closet, and she had cautioned her husband never to open or ask her about it." Actually, this one was the one that I was okay with. I remember now, talking out loud. "For all these years, we had never thought about opening the box, but one day the little old woman got very sick, and the doctor said she would not recover. In trying to sort out their affairs, the little old man took down the shoebox and took it to his wife's bedside. She agreed that it was time he should know what was in the box. When he opened it, he found 2 crocheted dolls and a stack of money totaling $95,000. He asked her about the contents. "When we were first married," she said, "my grandmother told me the secret to a happy marriage was to never argue. She told me that if I ever got angry with you, I should just keep quiet and crochet a doll." The little old man was so moved he had to fight back tears. Only 2 precious dolls were in the box. She had only been angry with him 2 times in all those years of living and loving. He almost burst with happiness. "Honey," he said, "that explains the doll, but what about all this money? Where did that come from?" "Oh," she said, "that's the money I made from selling the dolls." Yeah. Uh-huh. You know, Jan and I have been doing this for so long. This will be like 21 years we've been doing this. And it is my understanding that a lot of other churches now start their services with jokes. We've been doing it for 21 years, so yeah. All right. Oh, I almost had it. Cat Stevens, "Morning Has Broken." You know, it's true. If you don't start the morning with a little bit of thankfulness, your day could be so much better if you did. I mean, it really is. It's just wonderful. Oh, up. I'm not used to pushing up. I was pushing the wrong one. It's not my job to push the up button.
No, I know that. I'm armed and dangerous. Let's start with a prayer. Push the button on the bottom.
Okay, now we're on. Divine One, help me get through today. Help me to do the next right thing. Help me to step up in my own life so that I may be a blessing to others and myself. Help me to be kind to myself and others. Help me to be present in the here and now. Help me to know the lessons from past experiences without living in the past. Help me to have hope for the future without projecting myself out of this moment. Shift me out of the autopilot and bring me fully back into my life. Awaken me to joy and peace in this moment, as this moment gently flows into the next moment without my effort or striving. Help me to be. Amen. Yes, I am grateful for divine assistance in this moment. I am grateful for divine peace and joy in the here and now.
There we go. Okay. I'm going to send a sign-up sheet around again. This is for DreamQuest. I'm holding a free information meeting. It's not on your calendar. I just scheduled it. A free information meeting on Thursday. DreamQuest is life-changing. There's a summary on the front sheet, and there's a sign-up sheet behind that. There's only 9 spots left. And I have to put anybody else on a waiting list. Go ahead and sign up and put it on the waiting list if there aren't enough spots. Here's what some people are saying about DreamQuest. And the reason I'm pushing this really, really hard is that DreamQuest is a compilation of processes that I've created or modified over the years that allow us to really access our intuition and really help us to get into a clear state of being. Here's what a couple of different people said. Clarity in my self-awareness for sure. Also learning how to energetically block herd vibes as an empath. So if you're empathic, you pick up other people's stuff. Part of the things that we learn in DreamQuest is how to manage that energy and how to, see the lights flash on that? That might have some significance for us, I don't know. DreamQuest really started me on my path to learn new tools. It awakened my third eye and started my realization of my own worth. My first time around, the takeaway was that I was connected to spirit and anything was possible. The second time, I made connections with people that would become hugely important in my life's path. DreamQuest helped me find my wings. There's a great big long one I'm not going to read. This class increased my connection to spirit and greater faith in my intuition. So behind the sign-up sheet, there's more comments that people have made. So if you don't know, put your name and email down and put a question mark, and I'll communicate with you. We can have a chat. All right? If you've taken it before, there's quite a few people who've already taken it that are taking it again this time. Just because every time it comes around, they're so excited about it because you learn so much about who you really are. And that's such a blessing. So I don't have a pen with this. Maybe there's one in the pews there you could grab.
Janice,
Yes, ma'am.
what time on Thursday?
6:30. I'm sorry.
In the morning?
No. You don't know me very well. Okay. Let me just behold you for a minute. I've done this before. Sometimes it just makes people really, really, really uncomfortable. So if it makes you feel uncomfortable, you need it. And the process here is I am going to shift into a space of just loving you and appreciating you for where you are and who you are right now. I don't have to know your life story. I don't have to know what challenges you're going through, but I just want to observe your sacred self. So let me. At the same time, if you're uncomfortable, just close your eyes or look away. It's okay. You don't have to hold my gaze. If you do choose to, just receive. You don't have to send anything back. This is not about give and take. This is about you receiving. We have a hard time receiving, do we not? And this is your opportunity just to receive acknowledgement and recognition. So let me just do that for you. I promise it won't hurt much. Oh, Phil. Phil's in the background. Bring it. Yeah, Phil. Mm-hmm. We could all take lessons from Phil. What those lessons would be, back into my state. And there's somebody that I can't quite get, but that's okay. You survived. Good job. Now, how does that feel? Was it hard? Was it hard to receive that? How did it feel, Annalie?
Exhausting.
I adore that child. She's just precious. So Annalie, can I help you be so it's not exhausting? Do this. Annalie, do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Better? Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Not at the top of your head, right in the middle. A little lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that better? I couldn't hear. Yeah, okay. And the reason I do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this resets your system. Do I need to tap you all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reset yourself.
What does that mean?
It resets your system. So Phil and I do this thing where you can do muscle testing. And when you do muscle testing, if you touch the third eye right here and do the muscle testing, the body, the circuit shifts for a minute. So this allows your body to shift back to neutral. And we all need to be in that state of neutral, because when we're in a state of stress or efforting, that drains us. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. So being neutral is this place of power. And it's really all about power. Have you ever been around somebody who was, you were drained by the time you got away from them? Okay, oftentimes it's because they feel they have no power in their lives. So the words coming out of their mouth and the energy that they're emanating steals your power. There are things that and you'll learn them in Dream Quest. Geez, Dream Quest is so powerful stuff. But it's when you know it's about power, then you can be in a state of being where you are free and out of that circuit. And you're the sacred observer. And as the sacred observer, then you don't get caught up in the energy drain. You don't get caught up in the challenge of that. Words are so powerful, whether we speak them to ourselves, whether somebody speaks them to us, or whether we're thinking them or somebody else is thinking them. Our words really affect our world. And I want to chat with you about that because this is really, really important. I have been doing a lot of work on myself this week, and I have come to realize how much I criticize myself, judge myself. And, you know, I certainly give myself plenty of opportunity to do that. I don't always do the right thing, and I don't always make the right decisions. However, being in that place of judgment takes a ton of energy. It's hard on the body. It's really hard on the mind. It's hard on the soul. But we can say even the simplest things, and they cause us energetic suffering. I'll give you an example. Read on Facebook this morning, you need to become more enlightened and more passionate and caring. And my immediate response was, yeah, I need to do that. What happened to my energy? It went down. I could acknowledge that, yeah, that's important in my life, but I went from a drained energy with a need. If I shifted that and moved into a state of, I get to, that changes everything. When we give ourselves the need, I need to do that and I need to do this other thing, that's okay if you like struggling and efforting through life. But again, it's about power. And if you're running on empty, it's either going to be a drain on your own system or it's going to be a drain on somebody else's. So running on this space of I get to, what happens to the energy with that? It's much higher vibration. Now we need food and we need water. I'm not saying that need is a bad thing. But when we tell ourselves or tell somebody else, I need to, or you need to, then it's draining. Then it's draining. And here's the problem, because sometimes we feel like those are words that are necessary to create safe boundaries for ourselves. Well, you need to just chillax. Well, okay, has anybody ever relaxed or got chilled because you told them they needed to? I mean, that works really well, does it not? No, it doesn't work. When we feel like we have a boundary that's been breached, or we don't feel safe in our own skin, then often these words of judgment come up, and they come up, we tell them to ourselves and we tell them to other people. And we're trying to create a safe boundary, but it doesn't really work. All it does is it depletes our energy field, and then either we steal energy from somebody else not knowing that we're doing that, or we have even more of our energy drained. So creating these clear, safe boundaries is really, really important. And part of this process to get to that clear, safe boundary is to understand where we're at. And knowing that a boundary's been breached. Not say I'm struggling here because I'm not sure where you are in your world. Let me back up just a sec. Getting information from another source because my brain is not working. Okay. If someone expects something of you that you're not in a place to deliver, how does that make you feel? Inadequate, stressed, unworthy, irritated, frustrated. Okay, those are vibrational energies that aren't where we want to live. The energy vibrations that we want to live is courage, love, joy, positivity, all of those things. Because of that higher energy vibration, then we can make a difference in the world. When we're at this other regret and stress and all of that we can't do anything. Can't barely function ourselves in our own world. So looking at that, being the sacred observer and noticing that is the first step. Can we notice that? Is there someone in your life right now, like maybe a boss or a spouse or a good friend or a child that's pushing your buttons and has an expectation on you? Okay, so it's important to create this really safe boundary where you're safe and they're safe. However, it's difficult to do that by using shoulds and you have tos and gotta's and all of that sort of thing, because therein lies this judgment that steals people's power. When people feel disempowered, what are they going to do? They're going to take your power. We don't want to have somebody stealing our power, nor do we want to steal theirs. So the most powerful way to move through that and to get into a clear state of being, to empower yourself and empower somebody else, is to say, I get to. I get to. So I get to find a different way to cope with that person. I get to walk a different path. I get to choose a new way of being with that person. I get to. And they get to. They get to find that help somewhere else. They get to ask somebody else. They get to make a new choice. They get to find their own way. I don't have to fix their world. I get to take care of me. I get to be sacred in my own space. So giving them permission to find their own way is very empowering, because that empowers them and empowers us. So think back to a situation where you were disempowered by an interaction with someone. And what happens is when our energy gets drained like that, our conscious awareness goes, and we slip back into that primal brain of fight, flight, or freeze. And we don't function well there. We say things we don't mean, or we don't say anything at all. That makes sense? So it's imperative for us to move into this sacred observer space. And in that sacred observer space, then we have the power to consciously choose a new path for ourselves, to consciously be aware of our next step. And in that state of conscious awareness, we're connected to Divine Spirit. Phil and I have had a conversation last night and this morning again about situations where he's figured things out, and it just so happened to this particular thing showed up just exactly when he needed that information. And that happens when we're in this higher state of mind. When we're in a state of mind of feeling disempowered and burdened and negative, we can't get there. We're blocked. They did a research some years ago, and I've told you about this before, but they did a research study on people who were depressed. And after the research study, as people left, and they researched people who were depressed and who weren't, but they wanted to get this timeline of how many people were depressed, and that was really a secondary to what they really were testing. They put a $20 bill right outside the doors people were exiting. People who scored really low and were really depressed didn't see the $20 bill. People that scored high and were optimistic saw the $20 bill. It was there. There's things in our world that are there for our benefit when we become willing to receive them. And we become willing to receive them when we move into this higher state of mind, this clearer state of being, this conscious awareness that taps us into that. We get an intuitive ping that allows us to step beyond the mind and step into our awareness. Our awareness abides beyond this physical form. doesn't live just in our mind. It abides in our being and our energy field that surrounds us. And when we're in this higher state of awareness, we pick up stuff, we are aware of stuff that otherwise would right past us. Now, also in this higher state of mind and this clearer, intuitive, energetic state of being, into this higher awareness, we are less struck by other people's misery. We become immune to other people's sorrow. We become immune. Not that we don't have compassion for that, but it doesn't take us down. So you walk into a room and a person is really sad, you can go, oh, look, there's a sad person. And you can be the sacred observer about that without having to become sad and embody that sadness and be overwhelmed by that sadness. So this higher awareness, this higher consciousness is empowering. Then we can be of service. We can't be of service if we're drained. We can be a blessing if we're willing, if we move into the state of willingness. And the state of willingness is something that we don't even have to own. We can ask for it. It's gifted to us. It's a gift. You can just pray for it. Lord, let me be willing. Often we're not. I'll handle this myself. I'm not going to let them get me this time. Yeah, have you said that to yourself? Yeah, me too. But if we move into this higher state of being, then it's not even on the radar. Not even on the radar. Instead, what's there is this compassionate awareness that allows us to be a minister to somebody that's hurting, or allows us to give them space. Sometimes ministering to someone is the last thing they need. Sometimes they just need space. We had someone here in the church some years ago who was going through a really bad time, lost his job, had health issues, he was in pain. I had no words, nothing I could do. So we were standing in the entry area as people were leaving, and I just stood next to him. He chatted with a couple of people that came and went, and I just stood there, within just inches of his body, just to support. That's all I could do. I couldn't fix his world for him. It's not my job to do. I couldn't go, oh, poor baby, because then he was just barely hanging on as it was. And he didn't need me to be pouring pity on him. He needed strength. And sometimes just being that sacred observer is all that other person needs. Trying to fix his world. Oh, have you taken this vitamin or that vitamin? Or have you had a walk today? None of that stuff. That just puts them in a place of being defensive and I'm not good enough again. But holding that sacred ground for someone is powerful. Really, really powerful. Holding sacred ground for yourself is really, really powerful. Take a look. Take a look. What are you saying to yourself in your world? I've really had to look at this last weekend. I have been just brutal. Why? Because that's what I was raised, that if you're not brutal with yourself, you'll be too lax on yourself, and if you're lax on yourself, then you're going to be bad. So no, I better be brutal because then I'll walk the straight and narrow. No, that doesn't help you walk the straight and narrow at all. If anything, it creates this suffering and creates a shutdown, and you can't even find where the straight and narrow is, much less walk it. The words I was saying to myself were so harsh. And they carried with it a punishment. I carried with it this darkness, this negativity. And I didn't even know the program was running. Have you ever been working on your computer and all of a sudden it locks up? Because something was running in the background that hung things up. We all have these programs running in the background. Let's disengage from them. And the fastest way to disengage from them is to be the sacred observer. Oh, look, notice it. Oh, look, I am talking negatively to myself. And that negativity, that's something that I believed was what I needed to do in order to be a good person. That was a training kind of since childhood. And I got to the point where I could believe and recognize and register that it wasn't helpful. And I could thank my family for trying their best to make me a good girl. It didn't work, but thank you anyway. So I could be grateful for that, but I could also shift out of that and know that the only thing that could help is love and light. And then I could pour love and light on that, and that diminished all of that negativity. That diminished that, and that diminished that need to be all tight up about stuff. I could relax into my own skin. We don't do that, do we? We feel like we've got to force ourselves to take that next step. Well, you know, sometimes we do. Cleaning the kitty cat box is not one of my highest priorities in this world. But you know, I found a way around that. Remember the old song, Rock the Casbah? I sing, scoop the cat box, scoop the cat box. I really don't like it, scoop the cat box. Then it's fun. And once you do, you know, why does a task it's not pretty and it's not fun, why does it have to be horrible and then we hate it? Because as soon as we hate something, then where's our energy level? And where's our conscious awareness? Our conscious awareness is fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze. Did I say that right? And if we fight it, then stupid cat box, that doesn't feel very good. Messy. Or we can flight. I'm not touching that cat box. Or freeze. There's a dirty cat box. Just get it done. Sometimes just being willing, that's where paying for willingness comes from. Because we don't have it within ourselves. I don't like it. I don't want to. Don't make me. Pray for willingness and then make it fun. And then I get to, and it gets done fast. Have you ever noticed that when you put yourself into that state of being, that even difficult tasks happen faster? It's the weirdest, darn coolest thing. So there's this project, you may have had to clean the closet. That's going to take me hours. Well, I get efforting about that, anguishing about that, and you know, it took me a couple of days to get around to that. So there was days of this anguishing that I experienced. And then when I finally got started in it, Phil showed up and said, oh, here, let me help. And then we put things away, and 2 hours max, and it was completely redone. And oh, by the way, we got the rest of the room clean. The back room. Who knew? Who knew? But it took getting out of that state of efforting and anguishing about something that was locking me down and all these judgments and all this criticism, and I shifted into this I get to. Oh, I get to. Thank you. What do you want to do in your life? What do you get to do in your life? Shift whatever it is out of a need. I need to study. I get to. And I get to find new ways to study that make studying easier, faster, better. Those of you who are going to school, I'll have to talk to you about the Silva method of study. It's very cool. So there's lots of techniques that you can use to make everything better, easier, faster. And as we do the tasks that are easier, better, faster, what does that leave us? That leaves us time to be. Time to enjoy, time to experience, time to adventure. But often we can't adventure because we're locked down in this judgment of ourselves. I know it's true for me. But let's shift out of that. And shifting, the fastest way to shift is I get to. So what function do you have in your life right now? What is your purposefulness in life right now? I was going to say this for another day. Maybe I'll just say it right now, really fast. Ikigai. So Phil did a research thing, and he ran across this, the people of Okinawa, who really have these huge long lifespan. Not only do they eat really well, but they have this thing they call Ikigai. It's purposefulness. Purposefulness. So whatever they do, however they live their lives, they live it with purpose. One person that was interviewed said his purpose was to go fishing 3 times a week to feed his family. Well, you know, fishing. You get to go fishing, have fun. But as soon as it becomes an obligation, I gotta go fishing, feed that family. If I don't fish, we starve. You know, where's the fun in that? None. And where do the fish go? Away. But he lives his life with this purposefulness. I'm fishing for my family. I'm fishing because this is what I love, this is what I do, and this blesses my family, blesses all of us. What are you doing? What's your purposefulness in life? And it could shift from one day to the next. My purposefulness right now, and here and now in this moment, could be different than my purposefulness tomorrow. But my purposefulness blesses me and puts me in the state of mind of I get to. I get to. What do you want? Take it out of a want and a need and put it into I get to. I get to. I need to lose weight. I get to be healthy. I need to find a better job. I get to look, see what else is out there. The difference in the energy is profound, and the difference in the energy within you is profound. The difference in the energy in me is profound. We can really change who we are with just changing a few thoughts. I have a verse I want to share with you about that.
Jan, the Ikigai is I-K-I-G-E-I.
I-K-I-G-E-I. Ikigai, if you want to look it up. More on that to come. Psalms 51. Oh, you'll notice there's new Bibles in the pews. So we had some, and then they've gone walkabout, and so we got some more. Hopefully, if people have taken them, that they are using them. That's the good thing.
Great doorstops.
Oh, stop. Psalms chapter 51, verse 10. 10, 11, and 12. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Oh, gosh, we get our hearts all cluttered up with all kinds of shoulds and have tos and gottes, but a clear one. Clear that stuff out. Renew a steadfast spirit within me. We need renewal. We get renewal. But it's like water. If we don't have water, we die. Without being renewed, we die. The outer man is struggling, decaying day by day, but the inner person is being renewed day by day. When you feed it what it needs, what it requires this clear heart, clear mind space. Do not cast me away from thy presence. Do not take thy Holy Spirit away from me. Not that he would, but just because. Restore to me the joy of thy salvation and sustain within me a willing spirit. Ask for it. It'll be gifted to you. What are you struggling with right now? See how a willing spirit could shift that. See what a willing spirit could do to open opportunities. When we move into that state of willingness, that willing spirit, divine source intervenes in our behalf. It's the coolest thing. Have you ever had a divine intervention? I bet everybody in this room has had a divine intervention in their life. Isn't it the coolest thing? Getting in that state of a higher awareness, that awakened mind, creates that energy for us. And then we see and we find things that normally we wouldn't notice. Just when we need it the most. Just when we can't do it on our own, some blessing shows up in our lives. So let's do a guided meditation. We're going to do